And I've been following this debate, and here are some 10 ideas. Let's start with the first one, which is, I heard a Brookline principal say this years ago: hire excellent teachers and just get out of their way. Leave them alone, let them do their work. You can see the flaws in that approach. And here are the others, just very quickly, that are out there being talked about and being considered. Double down on the traditional system. Provide better training for principals and assistant principals. And there's a lot of this going on around the country. Third one is look at lesson plans. And I know schools, my son-in-law taught him one here in Boston, where they asked him to hand in the whole week's lesson plans on Monday. That's what he spent the weekend doing. And then the administrators would go through them with a red pen, and not a productive use of time, because I think Tuesday's lesson plan really needs to be predicated upon what happened on Monday. And also I think unit plans are more productive in general, but you see these huge binders of evidence and lesson plans and so forth, and I think this is just not a good use of time. Fourth one is there are a lot of clever programs built into iPads and tablets and iPhones to go into a classroom and to fill out a checklist in real time to actually score a lesson on a 4, 3, 2, 1 scale. And again, I think this is very unproductive. It keeps the administrator from being a perceptive observer, walking around, talking to kids in a nice way, introducing themselves. Then there's the real-time coaching. Now, this is one of my big pet peeves. There are some schools, not many, but some schools where the administrators come into a classroom, and if they see something wrong, they take over the class from the teacher and demonstrate how it should be done, or they coach in real time. And I wrote an article about this for Kaplan a couple of years ago because I really think this is intrusive, and this is something that drives teachers out of the business. It's simply not respectful to teachers. I think the coaching needs to take place afterwards, one point at a time. We'll get to that in a minute. Then there's the idea from Harvard to have teachers record videos of themselves and submit those to administrators to be viewed. Video is a tremendous professional development technique, but not, I think, for evaluation, because of course teachers are once again going to submit their best work, and again the administrator may not have insights into the daily practice which really drives student achievement. Wyoming had this bright idea of bringing in a camera to a classroom unannounced and recording an hour of instruction and then using that to evaluate the teacher. This could lead to a heart attack. This could lead to kids acting out. This could lead to, again, an inaccurate picture of daily practice. Clever idea to get around the dog and pony show. So then cameras in every classroom. I've been in schools that actually have cameras going all the time. Parents may be able to log in. Administrators can log in. Never have to leave their office. But again, Big Brother watching and really losing the essence of what's going on in classrooms. Using student surveys, I think, is a good idea, and I do advocate that, the Tripod Project, Panorama, and others, but I don't think they should be used for high stakes. Pittsburgh public schools are still using the data from student surveys as 15% of teachers' evaluations. I think not a good use of data. I think as a coaching tool, terrific, but not for that. And then finally, there's value added. The clever statistical formulas for evaluating teachers based on their students' test scores. And this idea, fortunately, now has been thoroughly discredited. The researchers in the American Association of American Statistical Association, AERA, have now said this should not be used for high stakes because it is so unreliable. Okay, so those 10 things, what do I think of them? There you go. I think they're all ineffective, and I've studied this very carefully. And I think there's a lot of support for why these are not. Just very quickly, here's the summary. Short, frequent, unannounced classroom visits. I advocate at least 10 per teacher per year, which comes to about a couple a day in most schools, and systematically sampling, because teachers teach about 900 lessons a year. So this way you're sampling about 10 of them, which is 1 in 9, which is a small number. But if they are unannounced, frequent, and systematically spaced out through the school day, through the lesson, through the year, I think you can get a remarkably accurate picture of teachers' work. Each one of these visits, I believe, should be followed up as soon as possible, same day or within 24 hours, with a face-to-face conversation with a teacher, ideally in the teacher's classroom when the kids aren't there. Really a humble gesture by the administrator, having a conversation, focusing on one coaching point. Paul Bamrick-Santoya talks about a leverage point. So I think that's the best technique here. Then a brief summary of that. There's one program, computer program, that limits the administrator to 1,000 characters, which is a paragraph. I'll show you one in just a sec. No scoring, no 4, 3, 2, 1 scoring. That sours the whole coaching relationship. Then, of course, looking at curriculum unit plans, dropping in on PLC meetings, teacher team meetings, same subject, same grade teacher team meetings. Always talking about student learning, but not in an officious kind of data-driven way, but in a way of so how did that lesson go? Did you get your intended learning results? How was that quiz? How was that exit ticket? Then using the rubric, and I'll show more about this later, at the end of the year to sum up all these interactions, all these classroom visits, conversations, and other points of contact, keeping it medium stakes. That's the key point. Not a high stakes scoring kind of officious thing. Unless, of course, the teacher is showing major issues, in which case you shift gears and get into an improvement plan. If you want to find 3 districts that are doing this really well, Manhasset, New York on Long Island has been at this for years with strong union approval and is doing a great job with it. Hamilton County, Chattanooga, Tennessee has been at it even longer. I've been out there a number of times. They're doing a superb job. And the Uncommon charter schools have a system that is quite similar to this. So this is just a brief summary.